This is another week of trading for the month of February. First trade of the week goes to Big C, which gapped down on a downgrade. Traded under the 1 minute low high, but it was a bit thin on volume. I think spread opened up to like 7 cents on it, so I undersized it. Looked good and was waiting for that 1 minute to close to trail some over 760, but had a nasty pop literally like 2 seconds before that bar closed for me. Probably would have gotten slippage anyways, but ended up trailing it over that bar's high, which was basically break even, and ended up being a good exit because it went to make new highs. Then I tried the NSTG short, which I believe gapped down from the company filing a Chapter 11. Tried it as a breakdown off the one, but couldn't get filled since it was on an uptick. Tried chasing it, but no luck, and ended up covering the very little shares I had. Then I decided to go back to the Big C and re-short it under the 2 minute sell setup. Failed right away and took slippage on the way out over that 5 minute reversal bar. So what was up over half an hour earlier ended up being down half an hour on it now. Then I tried the EVGO as a scalp as it was stair stepping lower, was also on an uptick, so was trying to get filled both on toss and E-Trade, and should have known better not to keep all my orders open because it completely flipped and popped against me. Tried to get out as quickly as possible, but the damage was done. So ended up losing more than an R on it. Then the Tesla was selling off hard today and was going a bit parabolic on the intraday. Tried it off the 2 minute as a long for a bounce, but ended up killing it early as it was failing to go right away. So nothing really going my way this morning. I also tried this NVAC short off the base breakdown, which didn't work. And then the NVTA was also going parabolic and selling off hard on bankruptcy news. I tried it as a long for a bounce, but prematurely got in before it even took out that 1 minute bar and ended up having to kill it for a loss as it made new lows. Ladies and gentlemen, we are down 3 Rs. Not a good start to the week. So I decided to step away to clear my head. I felt like I was over trading and wanted to come back with a fresher set of eyes. And the first trade back, I went after the TEL, which was selling off on the daily, and had a 1-2-3 off the 5. Thankfully was able to get filled some because it got a nice drop. Finally, I get something in my favor, and that was pretty much all I ended up doing for the rest of the day, and thankfully that TEL was able to help mitigate some of the loss, but ending the day down a little over an R. Not happy with how I traded today. I was trying to do way too much, especially after I got hurt on that EVGO. I was basically going after anything I saw even slightly interesting and taking paper cuts on the way. So I should have been more patient today, but once in a while these days happen as a reminder. So I brought that energy into Tuesday. First trade was the Sun W, which gapped down, I believe, from filing Chapter 11. Tried it under the 1 minute low high. Ended up not working, and I flipped it long instead since it was a big gap this morning. Sometimes these do end up getting bought. And ended up somewhat working on the flip, just enough to recoup the loss and then some. Then I really liked this FN off the 15 minute 1-2-3, but decided to pass on it because it was just way too spready. I think it had like 60 to 70 cent spread when I saw it. So instead I saw the TEL from yesterday going parabolic on the 5 minute. So shorted it under the reversal bar for a quick drop. Ended up working well. And then I saw this VRNS have a 1-2-3-4 on the 15, but also decided to pass because it just looked way too whippy on the base. Again, trying to take it a bit easy today. Then in the afternoon, I had an order for the CCK short, but it never triggered. Got bought instead. Then I had to step away for a meeting. Then towards the end of the day, I scalped the NYCB. If you follow stocks at all, you know this thing has been getting destroyed. And just did it as a quick scalp short. Again, took it real easy today. I passed on a lot of plays, including like the ETNB and the UPS breakout, which actually all ended up working. So today actually would have been a nice day if I was more aggressive, but always hard to do coming off a day like yesterday. Wednesday, I went after the Fubo at the open. This thing gapped down on news about Disney's big sports streaming partnership. Tried it under the 2 minute, but made the mistake of scalping it instead of playing it off the chart, because I ended up getting shaken out off this drop. And it continued to grind lower. It was also on an uptick, so I couldn't really get back in and had to watch this go without me. Now, it's easy to say that in hindsight, but knowing this is a flippy stock, scalping it wasn't the way to go. Then I got in the CG buy setup off the 2 minute, which gapped up on earnings. Undersized it a bit because I noticed the price bounces around a lot. Tagged me in, and of course it immediately flipped. Didn't look good, so I raised my stop to the 5 minute. Thankfully it held as the market pushed higher, and I decided to take half under the 1 minute to time it with the market. Then the back half, I took it under the 2 minute as it made new highs, which ended up being the top. Then I tried the TCS short, which gapped down on earnings as well, We're definitely in earnings season. Had a base breakdown off the 5, a bit thin, and was also on an uptick. This uptick rule is just killing me. So yeah, difficult to get filled on, but got what I could. Ended up following through really well, but got out way too early. Check it out. This thing ended up breaking $1. I mean, that would have made the week, maybe even the month, if I got filled the right amount. Then in the afternoon, I went back to the Fubo from this morning since I saw it have a 15-minute sell setup now. But this time, learned my lesson from the open and decided not to scalp it and trade it off the chart. And good thing, because it would have shaken me out again. But instead, I was trailing it off the 15, was only looking for 180 on it. And as it got close to that target, I then decided to trail to the offer. And perfect exit because that ended up being the low on that move. Then I spent the rest of the afternoon giving back some profit, taking paper cuts on some scalps like the TCS, but ending the day up 3 Rs. Thursday, I saw the GoPro gap down on earnings and got in it short under the 2-minute low high. It was gapping right into support, but was hoping it would break through it as it triggered. Looked good for a minute, but unfortunately ended up popping instead and made like a penny on it. Moved on to the apps, which also gapped down on earnings. This one did end up clearing support. Tried it short off the breakdown on the 1, then trailed it off the 1 on this drop. I also got involved in this ME short as a 1, 2, 3, 4 on the 5 for a scalp. Couldn't really get filled, so chased it a bit as it dropped. Not much luck, so was very undersized. Then I also scalped the Fubo, which was on the carryover list from yesterday, which was moving like a snail and was actually up a decent amount on this move lower, but flipped quickly and popped against me and took some slippage on the way out, so didn't make as much. Then I got on the CX short. I've been trying to use E-Trade more since they don't have short fees for day trades, but this seems to take up a lot of buying power, so I had to get some on my TOS account as well. Ended up flipping instead, so killed it, which was a bad exit because it was a shakeout and it dropped towards the low of the day. Maybe should have kept one of my positions to the original stop, but probably would have trailed out of it anyway since it had a few pops on the way down and most likely would have took me out on that 15-minute. Then things slowed down for the rest of the day, so just locked in the day at 4 Rs. Friday was just a roller coaster of emotions. There were quite a few interesting gaps this morning, but either they were too spready at the open or they didn't give me my setups. Until finally I saw the BTAI on my thumbnail chart. Looked like it was going to break down, but I shorted the wrong stock instead. I'll just let you watch what happened. Can try under 45 maybe. BTAI as a scalp. I just messed up. Ouch. I accidentally shorted the docs. Oof, that's not good. It's funny how whenever I make these sort of mistakes, never does it go in my favor. I literally couldn't have shorted anything worse from my list today. I mean, this thing ended up bullying the gap. Now, thankfully, it wasn't too bad of a loss. It could have been much worse, considering this thing had 35-cent spread at the open and was rallying in the opposite direction. But still, I can't believe these things still happen to me. I did end up getting some BTAI. It actually wasn't even available on TOS, and only one of my pending orders went live. The others got rejected on my E-Trade. It did work a bit, but only had 3K shares in it. And I did reach out to TD Ameritrade, told them what happened to see if there's anything that can be done. Doesn't hurt to ask. And over an hour later, speaking to 2 different representatives, they saw that the market order I threw out, the execution could have been better since it was a pretty large order. So thankfully, they were able to adjust it by 17 cents. I will take that. You can see here, it kind of looks scary while they were making those adjustments. So I was originally down like 3K on it. And after the adjustments, just down about 2K on it. Again, I would gladly take that just because how this was trading this morning. So shout out to Corey at TD Ameritrade. Really appreciate the help. But yeah, this pretty much kept me distracted the entire morning session. Didn't do much trading until the afternoon. Went back into the BTAI as it became available again on E-Trade on the 15-minute breakdown. Getting filled on it was the issue now, but was able to get a small scalp out of it. Then the ME from yesterday had a sell setup off the hourly, took forever to move and almost shook me out, but eventually ended up getting a decent drop and got some slippage on the way out since the spread opened up on that drop. Then for my last trade of the week, I got back into the BTAI. This time I was able to get decent size on it, looking for one last breakdown before the close. It ended up breaking the base late into the close, but time was running out. It wasn't budging. So in the last minute of the day, I saw the bid beef up. Also, this thing was a secondary offering. I don't know if I mentioned that. So usually these don't really go anywhere. So I ended up closing it out in the last minute, and the most unbelievable thing happened next. 1 or 2 R's taking the BTAI. Oh my gosh. I closed out of it. Oh my goodness. Holy I was like, there's only 1 minute left. The thing is gonna. Wow! Look at the BTAI. Why did I close it? I had 16,000 shares. That's 30 cents. I can't believe that. All right, so that I don't know. I'm speechless right now. What just happened? This thing decided to drop 30 cents literally 5 seconds after I closed it out. Now, I was watching the level 2 on it, and I definitely would have taken it at around 201 or so, but that's still 20 cents, which is like $3,200 on 16,000 shares. So today should have easily been a 10R day if it wasn't for my mistake at the open with the docs, and if I just held onto this thing for like 5 more seconds. Super disappointing because these are the weeks that kind of make up the month, and I felt I didn't perform well to capitalize on the opportunities. I mean, I started the week on the wrong foot, then took a passive approach on the days I shouldn't have, just to end the week with 2 major mistakes. Yes, I'm still ending the week up a bit, and on a slow week, I'll happily take this, but not this week. This should have easily been a 5-figure week. To be honest, I kind of wish I had 1 more day to trade to redeem myself, but maybe it's good that it's the weekend so I can just kind of reset. It is the Super Bowl weekend, so maybe just kind of enjoy that and then get back at it on Monday. Anyways, let's call it a week. Hope you enjoyed this one. As always, I appreciate you for being here, and I hope to see you on the next one. Unbelievable.